Good evening, wrestling fans. We're your hosts, Lewis
and Jaden, and this is
Evolution of Pro Wrestling. Welcome back, fans. This is Rivalries Month. We're just coming up with random dream matches for the rest of the month, and it's just going to be historic. Each topic gets better and better each time.
Yes.
Before we get into tonight's topic, a lot has been happening in professional wrestling in the WWE, Jay, especially in AEW as well. Jon Moxley did not join the faction of Chris Jericho, smashed him over the head with a bottle. So that was intense. Then, in the WWE, the first man to enter the Royal Rumble is Roman Reigns. But check this out. Brock Lesnar has proclaimed himself to be going in number one. Kevin, welcome, brother. Glad you're watching. He's number one entry in the Royal Rumble as WWE champion. That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous.
If they make that man win, I will never watch WWE again.
That's ridiculous.
Ever in my life.
No,
until there's a new champion, and if he wins that, I will never watch WWE again.
Well, Jaden, tonight's topic is Clash of the Titans, a dream match that I myself wish we could have saw,
yes,
but never did, unfortunately, due to the circumstances. Who was the better superstar, Bruiser Brody
or Undertaker?
Oh man, look at me. That gave me chills. That gave me chills.
Seriously,
that's a rivalry that many people to this day think, what would have happened if those two would have fought each other?
Yes, if we actually saw that match. There's a lot of what if questions. What if they went against each other? What if this person won? What if that person won? What if they've been in this type of match? What if they destroyed each other? There's been a whole bunch of questions and speculation. There's also been questions on why that match never happened. There's a million questions that these people want to know on why the match didn't happen. Who do you think would win? That's why we're here. We're here to talk about who do we think will win, about the opponents they fought, about the dreams they've become, all that type of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this topic right here, right now, today.
Absolutely. And Bruiser Brody, okay, my son does not know who Bruiser Brody is. This was before his time. Bruiser Brody was the most brutal superstar I've ever seen back in the 70s and 80s. This man walked around with a chain. The crowd moved when he walked. That's an art. That's an art what you do, because people respected him when he went to the ring. He was in brawls with Abdullah the Butcher, Radish and Rick Rude, many people in Japan, Masachono, Ric Flair, even took Ric Flair to the limit. The man was a phenom in Japan, and also in Puerto Rico when he went up against the Invader. With this dream match, it's just amazing. And then you have The Undertaker.
The Undertaker is amazing. One of the best, man. You know, he's been through some characters, but, you know, everybody's focused on the dead man right now. You know, took someone like John Cena, Batista, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, all those guys, Kane, people like that. He's taking on many people.
The man is he's called the Phenom.
Look at the streak he held until it was sadly broken by Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. But look how long this guy went on to hold a WrestleMania.
The man had a decade of destruction.
Yes, he had a decade of destruction. This man went like 20 WrestleManias undefeated. Literally, he was 20-0. That's crazy. I've never
for 20 years. They say in WWE, like they say in professional wrestling, that streak will never be duplicated. It will never happen again. No one will be able to do it. But Jaden, do you think The Undertaker would have been able to take on the likes of Bruiser Brody?
See, if I knew more into Bruiser Brody, I would gladly answer that.
Okay, take it from me, son. Bruiser Brody was the most toughest man in professional wrestling back then.
See, I feel like,
in my opinion, anyway.
Okay, so I feel like there's two parts to the situation here. I feel like Bruiser Brody and Undertaker would not tap out, but I feel like one of them would get lucky and beat each other. I don't feel like this is like, you know, a one-on-one competition type thing that he's better than him or he's better than him. Like, I don't think it's one of those competitions. I think those guys would have just beat the crap out of each other, they both would have been
Yep,
hurt.
even Omen says it would have been sick with those two going at it with each
one of
other.
them,
It's a hell of a match. And what's funny is that I seen the Undertaker on Stone Cold's podcast, the Skull podcast. He actually fought Bruiser Brody the first time he came to professional wrestling, and Bruiser Brody pretty much beat the bejesus out of him.
That's what I'm saying. Undertaker was new to the industry. Bruiser Brody was like he was a veteran in the industry, so I kind of understand where he was coming from there. But I feel like if we seen the Undertaker, the dead man at his prime, he could probably keep up with Bruiser Brody.
I don't think so.
I think he could have kept up with him.
I don't think so.
He would probably whoop him.
Not even close. Not even close.
No. I feel like Bruiser Brody would beat the bricks off of the Undertaker. But I think he would be able to keep up.
Kevin says, I say Undertaker in his prime in a casket match. Okay, yes. That's a good one. But then Omen Rockshaw and Carlos, your buddy Carlos is on watching from Tomic, the cameraman. The most famous cameraman in Independent. He said 2 different styles. Exactly, and yes, they are 2 different styles. But remember, Undertaker is a shooter. He uses those MMA gloves. Man is a striker. So I don't know.
You can't forget that Undertaker, does the old school, goes on top of the rope, does all that. He does all that. The last ride, old school, all that. Oh no, that's Kane's move. Never.
No, he did the last ride.
Last ride, choke slam, tombstone power driver. You gotta be careful with those type of moves, especially since Undertaker is a really tall man. Undertaker doesn't look really tall because you're watching him on TV, live TV, but I'm pretty sure if you were to actually step up to him in person, he would probably be a tall guy. Like, look at the times where he probably faced like Rey Mysterio, Edge, all those people when he chokeslammed them. If you could chokeslam someone that easy and pile drive them that easy, or body slam them that easy, you have to be a really big, or you have to be a really strong guy to do that.
Well, Omen Rockshaw says the Undertaker, not even in WCW when he was the twin of the skyscrapers, Bruiser would have still whooped his ass all over the arena. I agree with that because Bruiser Brody just pretty much kicked the shit out of everybody when it came to... He had brutal battles in Puerto Rico, brutal battles with Abdullah the Butcher. Now, my question to you...
Hold on. I've never seen this man wrestle, but I've heard of the things that he's done to people. Like, I've heard of how strong this guy is. I hear when I'm, scrolling through YouTube looking for wrestling or even on the WWE network, I hear people talking about, Bruiser Brody, the toughest guy on the WWE, never backs down from a fight.
No, not WWE. He was just a professional wrestler.
Yes,
he fought for AEW. He fought for AWA. He also fought for WCCW. He wrestled in Japan, and he also wrestled for WWC, World Wrestling Council in Puerto Rico.
He was, the toughest guy in the wrestling promotion. He never backed up from a fight from anybody. So that takes a lot of guts.
Okay.
And especially since the fact that he literally brutalizes you and beats you.
Now, here's my question to you.
Okay.
Do you think Bruiser Brody would have been able to deal with the likes of the superstars from the 90s and the millennium with guys like Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold, Goldberg?
Probably.
And other people.
I feel like Goldberg will come close. But I feel like the other 2 options, they would. Don't get it twisted. I'm not.
See, even Omen says it. Bruiser was a real deal. He had very classic matches a lot against guys in the NWA.
Don't get
in Mid-South, legendary. Yes, absolutely. I remember those matches.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not sleeping on Triple H. Because Triple H, Triple H is a survivor. Triple H is blood and sweat for a type of match like that against Bruiser Brody. But I do feel like he would stand a chance, but he wouldn't stand a chance. Does that make sense to you?
Sort of.
Okay, so what I'm saying is Bruiser Brody would beat him really bad. But I feel like Triple H would have, one of his miraculous comebacks. He wouldn't beat him, but he would at least put him on his booty for a little bit. And then probably Bruiser Brody would just finish the match right there. That's what
I
I
think
feel.
I would honestly say I think Triple H probably could give him a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I
know,
think he could give him a fight.
like Kevin said, Goldust in his prime. My man Goldust won't even deal with Bruiser Brody.
Goldust was a weird wrestler.
Yep, against the Von Erichs. Bruiser Brody, they go up against the Von Erichs. They had a lot of classic matches. Bruiser Brody was a legend in back then. Unfortunately, you didn't know this. Bruiser Brody was killed in a locker room of doing altercation from another superstar. Not giving details, but it was just dumb. You took away a man's life for stupidness. But the man was a known superstar when he was in that ring. Like, it was just amazing coming out with stuff like that. Now, do you think The Undertaker would have been able to deal with Bruiser Brody's time in the 70s and 80s?
Now, who were these people in the 70s and 80s? Just to be clear.
Okay, you had Hulk Hogan, which he fought Hulk Hogan, but not in his prime. You had Abdullah the Butcher, Radish and Rick Rude, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds. I mean, you heard of the Freebirds. Ric Flair. You know, when you hear guys like that, when you hear guys like Abdullah the Butcher, Dutch Mantel, a famous manager who was a major superstar. When you come up to something like that, do you think you could compare The Undertaker with Abdullah the Butcher? Abdullah the Butcher is that heavy-set guy, bald head, always carries a fork. Remember I showed you that? That's who Abdullah the Butcher is.
I think Undertaker would beat him, but I think it would take a miracle to beat him. If Undertaker was at his prime, I feel like Undertaker would have stood more of a chance without having luck. But I feel like Undertaker now, or like, Undertaker that everybody knows that the streak ended type Undertaker, I feel like it would have been a miracle if he was to beat him. It would be luck if he was to beat him. But I feel like Undertaker at his prime could have absolutely beaten him.
Now, there was one superstar that Omen just mentioned, which Bruiser Brody fought against, and I think The Undertaker probably would have gave him a shot, but I don't think he would have won. There's a gentleman called Jesse the Body Ventura. He was an excellent superstar. Like, the man was by far one of the best superstars out there until he got something in his system that couldn't go. Oh, Brian's here.
Baby.
Brian's here.
Baby.
That's it. Brian's here.
Oh, man.
It's about to get interesting now. Now, with Kevin and Brian in here, now it's going to get interesting with these two.
He's on Bruiser's
Brian,
side.
I'm sorry. I'm
Team
on Bruiser's side. He's Team Undertaker. Listen, I like the Undertaker, but Bruiser Brody he's a beast. The man was a monster. Look at Bruiser Brody against Iron Sheik back then. You think Undertaker would have been able to deal with Iron Sheik? With the camel clutch? Really?
With the camel, the camel clutch, I've never seen it. I've never happened to me, but that crap looks like it hurts. Like, that looks like a move that would break your back.
Oh, no, it hurts because your godfather put it on me one time. Anyway.
It looks like it hurts.
No, it does hurt.
Really painful.
All right, Brian, you know what the topic is. Who was the better superstar in their time? Bruiser Brody or Undertaker? You know, it's tough. Yeah. It's tough. So, listen, Undertaker is a tough mamma jamma.
Okay, now, Dad, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think Bruiser Brody will be able to take on the likes of Braun Strowman?
Wow, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one right there because Braun Strowman kind of makes me think of a Bruiser Brody in this time. That's a good question. That one was good. I think he would be able to.
Okay. Let me see who else I think he'll be able to take. What about Big Show?
Yeah, he would have took on Big Show.
Okay. So why do you think he'll be able to take on Braun Strowman? Well, do you think he would beat Braun Strowman?
I don't know. Hi.
What are we reading?
No, this is Kevin Laura's wife. I'm sorry, guys, not to stop it. Kevin Laura Gwen's Kevin Laura's wife. She's actually watching the show. She said, "God bless you, Jaden. Thank you, Gwen, for watching.
Thank you.
We appreciate it." And to answer you guys' questions, Brian says, "I give it to Bruiser Brody, but what if Mark Calloway has Mean Mark Callis versus Bruiser Brody?" I remember that. I remember Mean Mark Callis. He was lethal. He was just like beating the bejesus out of anyone he got into the ring with. So that's a good one, Brian. It's kind of tough to call. But back to your question.
Do you think Braun Strowman would win or Bruiser Brody, and why?
I would say Bruiser Brody because Bruiser Brody is more experienced. But Braun Strowman is a beast himself. Now, there was one that Omen Rockshaw mentioned. Bruiser Brody against Big John Studd. Big John Studd was this mammoth person.
I have heard of him.
Like
yeah.
he was an enemy of Andre the Giant.
I think I have seen Big John Studd wrestle before. It rings a bell. It does ring a bell. I probably need to see the face in order to remember who he is. But yes, absolutely does ring a bell. I heard he was a very great wrestler inside of the ring, and I think that was like the only. I would say like the only rivalry I've heard that he had was with Andre the Giant. So yeah,
yes, that wasn't the only rivalry because he had a rivalry with Hulk Hogan.
That's what I'm saying. The only rivalry that I know of that I remember seeing.
See, everybody's talking about me. Mark was crazy. Absolutely, he was. Me, Mark Callis was crazy in WCW. But that's the thing. WCW didn't utilize him like WWE did when he became the Undertaker. You know what I mean? So when it comes to some certain stuff like that, it's kind of difficult to determine, say for the likes of Braun Strowman and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who do you think will win that bout?
Wait, repeat that one
Stone Cold or Bruiser Brody?
Oh man. I don't know. Who do you think would win? I'm not too sure.
I would say Bruiser Brody.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one. And Brian, I'm gonna ask you the same question. All right, well, you can hear the question.
Okay.
Who you think would have been better, Undertaker or Andre the Giant?
Lord, here we go with the hard question.
Oh, no. Actually, don't even answer that. You don't have to answer that now. I'll let them answer that.
You know what? I do want to answer.
No.
Okay.
Actually, go ahead. Answer it.
Okay. That's kind of tough. See, Andre the Giant was a big man. Like, this man's palm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Christopher Lou said Brody. Keep going. Go ahead.
This man's palm could probably cover my whole entire face. Literally, he can put his palm on my face.
Okay.
So he had big hands. You know, Undertaker.
Man was 7 feet tall.
Yeah, Undertaker was fast in the ring though, so I can't really sleep on him. But I gotta give this one to Andre the Giant.
Okay.
Andre the Giant.
All right. We got a couple of comments. Omen Rockshaw says Andre the Giant.
I agree with you.
Christopher says Taker was better, but Andre was spectacular. Brian says, I say if Undertaker played the role of the American Badass or Big Eagle, because of that, with that character, he was able to be himself and not slow move like the dead man. Big Evil character would have taken Brody. That's an interesting sight. You put that, Brian. That is true. Big Evil, the Undertaker as the American Badass, it was tough. It was like, wow, that's a good point. It's kind of hard to choose. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't think Undertaker was in the era of the 80s. You know, he was part of the Skyscrapers.
Excuse me.
And yes, no, Omen, you're right. Yokozuna did give Undertaker a run for his money. And Undertaker did eventually beat him. But when you talk about Bruiser Brody, Bruiser Brody had a match against Abdullah the Butcher one time. It was a bloody match. Every time these guys got into it, it was nothing but blood. I don't think The Undertaker would have been able to deal with stuff like that back then. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I am.
I feel like Undertaker will be able to handle that when, when he took on the likes of, I'm sorry. When he took on the likes of, Triple H.
Come on, get it out, son. Get it out.
Okay, Dad. Okay. When he took on the likes of.
Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, when I was rudely interrupted. But back to what I was saying. When he faced.
Go. Come on, stop stopping.
When he faced not Brock Lesnar, Triple H in that Hell in a Cell match, I feel like if he could have took that pain, if he was in that era, I feel like he could take, probably all the hitting in the head with the chairs, sledgehammers, putting the tables, bloody knuckles, all that. I feel like Undertaker could have took that pain at that time. But I feel like Undertaker at his prime, newly experienced, all that stuff. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I don't think.
All right, so we got a few comments that Davis McMillan says, I'm going to AEW in Cleveland. I'm on floor 1 now seat. And Mark Henry was dominant against the Taker in 07. He's absolutely right. He did. Homer Rockshaw says, the best match to me was the casket match for Yokozuna for the world title. Yes, it sure was. Then we got Luis Cedeno. Thank you for watching, sir. Love the American Badass gimmick. Would have loved to see him in that gimmick one more time. That's the thing. If Undertaker would have been in that gimmick against Bruiser Brody, it would have been a tough match to call. See, Brian is saying if Taker was given the opportunity to fight Brody back when Brody was doing what he was doing, I believe Taker would have been able to follow through. I would pay to see that match. Excuse me. I definitely would pay to see that match. The American Badass against Bruiser Brody back then, if Bruiser Brody was still living. Oh, man. I get goosebumps just thinking about that match.
Now, Dad, I have a question for you. I know it's early to be asking this, but what were your 3 favorite matches by Bruiser Brody and Undertaker?
Okay. I would have to say with Bruiser Brody and Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody and Ric Flair, and Bruiser Brody against Radish and Rick Rude. Radish and Rick Rude back then was also a bruiser. He took the hits of Bruiser Brody with no question, and to know the fact that Bruiser Brody was a phenom in Japan, that he was famous. He even fought the likes of Jamie Superfly Snuka. The man is a legend.
That man was a legend. That
man
is still a legend to this day.
So imagine. So I think those are my 3. Now for The Undertaker.
Yeah, for The Undertaker.
I'm going to continue saying it. Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26. It's kind of tough. Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21. And Triple H, WrestleMania 28. Okay, hold on. We got a few comments. I'm sorry. Taker versus Mankind. Oh, of course. Mankind. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Imagine putting Mankind with Bruiser Brody. That's like, that's just an accident waiting to happen. Or Hell in a Cell. Remember, Taker took on Mankind on the Hell in a Cell. Imagine Bruiser Brody in the Hell in a Cell with Mankind on any of these guys. See, look at that. Bruiser, Omen Rockshaw says Bruiser versus Iron Sheik, John Studd, The Body Ventura, Mr. Fuji. These are all classic superstars from WWE. Major legends. And he said, Dave McMillan said, what legends do you think should be in the 2K21 that haven't been put on yet? It's too early to tell, sir. We haven't even gotten to 21 yet. But I'm sorry. The topic is about who was the better superstar in that time. Undertaker or Bruiser Brody. It's amazing when you got guys like that. Like, I would have loved to see Brock Lesnar against Bruiser Brody. And I wanted to see Bruiser Brody kick the living bejesus out of him. Now, did I finish my Undertaker picks?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Now, what about you?
Okay. See, I haven't really seen Bruiser Brody fight, so I gotta take on Undertaker's side for right now. My favorite match by Undertaker, first favorite match, of course, Mankind versus Undertaker in that Hell in a Cell match. Extremely brutal match. SummerSlam.
Go ahead.
SummerSlam, Edge versus Undertaker
in the Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell. And my last
Keep thinking, bro. Kevin. I'm not taking on away from Undertaker. I want to see Undertaker and Hell in a Cell with Bruiser too. But Mankind is the more crazier one to me, in my opinion.
Okay, last match, WrestleMania. I forgot which WrestleMania though. Triple H versus Undertaker in that Hell in a Cell.
WrestleMania 28.
Yes, 28. All Hell in a Cell matches. Whenever you put Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, something crazy is gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Look at the time. Look at the time of SummerSlam. What happened with Edge? He put Edge through the ring, and the ring got lit on fire. The hole that he was put through was lit on fire. Mankind got put through the cell. I think he fell through the ring.
Yeah.
He fell off of the cell through a table. The guy was still fighting. And look at Triple H. Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music Undertaker.
And
he got his own
move. It
move
still didn't work.
done to him and another move done to him. Still didn't give up. So I gotta give those matches.
You see, this is what I'm saying.
That's respect for Undertaker right there. That's big.
Oh
respect.
no, absolutely. Listen,
he put himself on the line with those
Undertaker has put so much in the business.
Yes.
Like it's not even like it's like wow, the superstars he done fought against,
it's crazy.
the major players he's taken on. Like it's just amazing to see a phenom like that just take over. Gwen said, "I'm coming Ket off. He's not about wrestling life." Omer Rockshaw says, "No, I think the best 3 matches to me was Undertaker was in the three stages of hell, and all the buried alive matches." Okay, Taker. Dave McMillan says Taker versus Henry WrestleMania 22 casket match. Taker versus Shawn a casket match in the Royal Rumble, and Taker versus Kane in the Inferno match.
I don't know if I'm sounding crazy when I say this, but I think.
Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Jamie just mentioned a hell of a match. Most extreme fans dream of Brody versus Cactus Jack.
Didn't we say that one?
No. Cactus Jack and Mankind are two totally... No. It's the same guy, but the way he does it different. Oh, man. Cactus Jack is more crazier. I will show you.
Oh, I've seen
Undertaker
Cactus
versus
Jack,
Christopher Michaels. These guys can take on all these superstars, man. It's amazing. I would have loved to see Brock Lesnar fight Bruiser, so Brock would get the living bejesus kicked out of him, and I don't think anybody else would have been able to take on him. And Mark, how you doing? Welcome, sir. Well, thank you for watching. It's amazing. Like when you can't really compare Undertaker and Bruiser at some aspects. Undertaker is a shooter. He's a brawler, just like Bruiser Brody. But Bruiser Brody was just kick the shit out of you. Like he don't care if he hurts you. There'd be times that he wouldn't even sell certain people. You know what I mean? Like, okay, say they hit him, he wouldn't even sell the hit because he's like, you're new to the business. You're gonna do what I tell you. Bruiser Brody was tough in the ring. He was tough backstage. And even Brian said it, an epic match between Cactus Jack and Bruiser Brody. That would have been a hell of a match. So when you got Undertaker has taken on the likes of Jake the Snake Roberts, Jimmy Snuka, Hulk Hogan, King Kong Bundy, the Big Show, Great Khali, like Triple H, Shawn Michaels. What other living legend superstars? The Rock. He's taken on many superstars. You know what I mean? And it's just amazing that you see something like that with a man so, and the thing is he's so tall, but yet the man can move so fast.
Right. It's insane.
Okay, so Mankind versus Terry Funk. Yep, that was a hell of a match in there, Omen. I'm gonna ask you guys this question. For those of you who know Bruiser Brody, you guys know The Undertaker for sure, especially you, Brian. You know Undertaker for sure. What were your best matches of Bruiser Brody and 3 best matches of Bruiser, 3 best matches of The Undertaker? Give us that comment in the comment right there. Let us know what you thought. Would you have wanted to see the match between Bruiser Brody and The Undertaker? And who would win? While we're doing that,
excuse me.
Oh, see, my son can't hang. He's tired.
I can hang.
He.
It's not bad to yawn every once in a while.
Yeah.
We all do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue. And while we're waiting for you guys to answer, next week. Well, actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna announce that now. I'm gonna wait till later on. I'm gonna keep you in suspense. Okay, back to the topic. How about Blackjack Mulligan versus Barry Windham? That's a hell of a match. That's father and son. That was definitely a hell of a match. So, Jaden, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you think Bruiser Brody would have been able to take on the likes of Andre the Giant?
Oh my God.
Come on.
You gotta answer that first.
Come on.
I can't answer.
I would say yeah. Even though Andre the Giant was a phenom. Andre the Giant was the ninth wonder of the world. I give him that. But
I don't think he'll beat him, but I think he'll be able to take him on. I gotta give the win to Andre the Giant.
Homer Rockshaw says classic match, Lewis versus Lewis, father and son epic match.
Don't worry, that rematch is coming soon. I will beat him down again. Don't worry.
Sure.
Beat him down.
All right, Brian says Taker versus Kane, Taker versus Mankind, and Taker versus HBK.
Taker versus Kane and the Buried Alive match was absolutely... A Buried Alive and an Inferno match was absolutely their two top best matches. And the Hell in a Cell. I can't forget that one. That Hell in a Cell match where Kane literally broke the door of the Hell in a Cell.
Well, David McMillan says Taker versus Strowman, Taker versus Big John Studd. That's a hell of a match. And Taker versus Andre the Giant. And Omen Rockshaw says, don't pick on Jaden, brother. No, absolutely not.
On my side.
It's my co-host.
He's on my side.
Bro, Kevin says, Brian Montavo, take over. And, oh, wow. Brian says, I think Lewis and Jaden need to happen again in TLC match. Yeah, well, I'll keep my eye on that. He's on Jaden's side. I'll be his coach.
Yeah, he's a wrestler.
Yeah, whatever. We're going to have that match.
Right here.
We're going to have that match. The new year, we're going to have that match. You guys be surprised.
You can't handle these. Can't handle.
Christopher Luke. See, when you mention guys, see, that's another one. Another legend. Kamala. That Bruiser Brody fought up against. Kamala, a guy who used to go like this.
Oh.
Yeah, the guy that he had face paint, he had like a moon. African American guy. He fought Abdullah. He fought Abdullah the Butcher.
Wait, you said he had face paint, right?
Yes, and he had like a moon in his stomach. You know who he is.
It rings a bell.
That man.
Like I said, I probably need to see the.
No,
face
Kamala. I think Kamala would have been able to beat the Undertaker. He fought Bruiser Brody. Bruiser Brody put him to the limit. It was just amazing, and it's like wow. And these guys mentioned Kabuki and Kendo Nagasaki.
Kabuki was good.
That's New Japan. Those were great superstars.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, Jaden, if Bruiser Brody was in this generation now, listen, Brian, you need to.
I suggest Figure 4. Pause he will touch.
You know what? You know what?
Thank you for that tip. I'll be sure to do that.
You know what? You're lucky we're live, sir.
If you see Dad tapping,
you're lucky we're live, and I know he's probably his ass off. Anyway, Jaden versus Lewis in a casket match. The Omen Rockstraw special referee.
Yeah, he'll help me. He'll ambush you.
Anyway, back to the conversation. Before I was rudely interrupted by Brian.
Yeah.
Do you think that Bruiser Brody would have been able to deal with the generation of The Undertaker?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
Bruiser Brody has experience, and just like we were saying before, the toughest guy, the guy that just wipes blood off his face and just keeps on moving, guy who could take hits and stuff like that. So I think he would be able to take on a lot of... practically everyone.
Brian, that's a hell of a match. Like, he just mentioned a superstar you don't know about. It's Mike Awesome from ECW. Like, that man was lethal in ECW. Him against Bruiser Brody. Oh, man. I would have... hey, Undertaker against Mike Awesome. How about that one? I met Hornswoggle and the Godfather and Gangrel at the indie show. Yep, so did I. Holman, and when Lewis tap, he got to wear a T-shirt that says, I tap out to Jaden, Jesus Christ.
Yes, I'm going to make you a shirt
Yeah,
that says that.
yeah. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So, do you think Undertaker would have been able to deal with the era of Bruiser Brody?
Yes, but no.
Why?
I feel like he can take on wrestlers, some certain wrestlers from Brody's time. Some. And if Undertaker, that's only probably if, that's probably if Undertaker was at his prime. But I feel like some of the wrestlers that were in Brody's prime are just too good for Undertaker. That's just my opinion on that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. And Brian, I'm going to ask you this question too, because I know you're listening, Mr. Undertaker. Who do you think you would have won the match between Undertaker in his prime and Hulk Hogan in his prime in the 80s? I'm asking you that question too.
Okay, see now, Undertaker could have taken on Hulk Hogan, but the leg drop, the muscle, all that was, like the popular things back then. And Undertaker, don't get me wrong, Undertaker is a striker, but Hulk Hogan was fast in the ring, and he wasn't only fast, he was strong too. So imagine putting agility with strength and putting that all in one. That's an unstoppable person right there. Undertaker had the speed. He did have some strength on him, but I feel like that Hulk Hogan would have beaten him, but not as bad as everybody thinks Hulk Hogan would have beat him.
Brian, he beat Hulk Hogan, but he beat Hulk Hogan when his career was winding down in the WWE. My question is, would you think Undertaker in his prime in the early time, or if he would have beat Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan started in the WWE, when Hulkamania was running wild? That's my question. Kevin, you stuck? Where you stuck at? Where you stuck at?
I don't know.
So that's my question, Brian. When Hulk Hogan started Hulkamania,
like I feel
and the
like
Undertaker became famous around the 2000 era.
Yeah, I feel like if you were to ask people that in public, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Hulk Hogan would have destroyed him. Hulk Hogan would have killed him so bad." No, Undertaker could have took him on, and he probably wouldn't have beat him as bad as everybody thinks.
It would have been a hell of a match.
It would have been a good match. I just don't think Hulk Hogan would have beat him as bad
Brian,
as everybody would say.
I completely agree with you. The Berserker was a bootleg version of Bruiser Brody. That just didn't work at all. And Kevin says Hogan versus Undertaker through the wire, overtime, like football, fatal match.
What's that?
Hard to explain. The Homer Rock Show and the Fabulous Jaden versus Louis Sweet Figueroa and Carlos from the Bodega from...
A tag team match?
God,
no host bar. Yes, I like that match.
Jesus Christ. Homer, stop stirring up, man.
Train me anytime. I'm ready. I'm ready to kick my dad's butt again.
Anyway. So... That's the hype about it. I think if Undertaker would have fought Hulk Hogan in his prime, it would have been a hell of a match.
It would have been a good match, but who do you think would have won? Like, be honest. Like, even if Hulk Hogan's your wrestler, be straight up honest. Who do you think would have won?
I would say Hulk Hogan.
Why? But okay,
it's like you said. Hulk Hogan back then was able to move faster. His agility was much faster.
Hold on. Before you finish that, I want to ask you a different question.
Sure.
How bad do you think Hulk Hogan would have beaten the Undertaker?
Not bad.
Okay.
It would have been a close match.
Okay, just make it
no,
sure.
Absolutely not. It would have been. Listen, I like the Undertaker. Excellent superstar. I still watch the Undertaker to this day. The man is a phenomenal athlete. Still is a phenomenal athlete, and it's like. It's hard to choose when it comes to something like that. So, it would have been a close match.
It's a comment for
No, of course. I got it there. Yo, Kev, remember Lou at the gym with my pops? Laughing my ass off. Sorry to be off topic. No, it's cool. We definitely remember the gym. That's when we were younger and weren't overweight. Back to the topic at hand. Anyway, so it's definitely tough to call, Jay. Like,
it does sound very tough to call.
No, but okay. Hulk Hogan is a showman. The Undertaker could whip Hogan's ass in a real fight. That may be true, maybe not true. You know, they're both in their 60s and 50s, so it's kind of tough to call. Kevin Laura, football term, Jaden, sorry, meaning ain't no telling either Hogan or Taker will win. Maybe Hogan was faster in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's tough to call. Undertaker in his prime with his speed, and then Hulk Hogan with his speed, his strength. It's tough to call back then. The same way with Hulk Hogan against Bruiser Brody when Brody was in his prime and Hulk Hogan in his prime. Who would win the match? Now, before we go, we're going to ask each and every one of you watching, who do you think would have won the dream match, Bruiser Brody or The Undertaker, and why?
I'm staying neutral. I'm not answering.
No, stop playing neutral. Answer the question.
Not answering.
Come on.
Nope.
Come on.
Nope.
Come on. It's a podcast.
I don't care. I can't answer. You get that feeling. Yeah. I think we need to go take it to the doctor.
Yeah.
We need to take it to the doctor.
Yeah, sure.
I gotta knock your eyes straight again.
Sure.
Because your eyes are pointing that way.
Uh-huh.
I'm right here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but...
Kevin says, younger in our prime, Brian, yes, cannot forget Elmo's gym. Yes, focus, Kevin, focus. Topic.
You're gaining some pounds there, Dad.
Shut up.
It's okay, Dad.
Shut your mouth. Anyway, continue. We just asked the question.
Okay, how about you answer the question?
Honestly, I would have to give it to The Undertaker. I'm an 80s fan.
Okay,
I love old school. Would it be
just a miraculous win, or do you think he'll actually beat him?
No. It would be a win. He won't beat him like that.
Okay.
Just like, Dave McMillan said Taker because he has different moves instead of just one. Absolutely. Bruiser Brody was, and Brian says, I'm biased. Taker would have won. Why? The chokes and the tombstone, that's why.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And Kevin says Taker, all bets in. So Bruiser Brody was a shooter. He was a fighter. He would beat the bejesus out of you. I give it to the Undertaker because of the Undertaker's ability to do certain moves that Bruiser Brody was not able to do.
And I feel like, me personally, Undertaker was probably just a tad bit faster, and Undertaker was like probably one of the best strikers I've seen in this WWE industry. He could strike like no one else could, and that's a really good thing, because he fights like a UFC fighter. Stance and everything says it all. So imagine putting the striking into a choke slam, a tombstone, a last ride, all that stuff, all of those moves, the old school, the oh my god, the suicide dive, putting all those moves.
Yeah, Bruiser Brody would have never been able to do a suicide dive.
No way.
He'll be able to kick the shit out of you with a chair or a chain, which the man would make you bleed. But there would be no way that the man would do what the Undertaker can do.
There's no one who could do the suicide dive like the Undertaker.
No, absolutely not.
There's no one who could recreate that same suicide dive. There's no one who can exactly do that suicide.
Oh man, I don't know. I kind of have to disagree with that. Elias reminds me of Bruiser Brody.
Elias is not that good.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't agree with. I'm sorry, I can't.
Elias is not as good.
If you want to get technical to a person that reminded me of Bruiser Brody when he was in his Attitude Era, was The Undertaker as the American Badass. I think that's what that would be a younger version of Bruiser Brody. The Undertaker as the American Badass when he cut his hair short, he had his bandana, he had his bike, and he had that chain. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think, Brian? He said, I think he means Elias' appearance looks like Brody. Somewhat. You can say that, but I think Undertaker fit that better when he was the American Badass. So it's kind of tough to call. So Jaden, our time is up. We enjoy you guys commenting. We enjoy you guys watching as always. We thank you for the support. As always, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Evolution of Pro Wrestling. Next week, our 1-year anniversary special episode, Friday, 8 p.m. sharp.
Oh,
This.
Oh man! All I'm saying is that this topic is gonna be amazing.
Next week's topic is going to be the most historic topic that we are ever gonna have in this show. That I don't even know how it's even possible to fit this all in one show. But you know how we're gonna do it? Tell them, Jaden.
We're gonna do it because we're doing we're going an hour long for the show, so you get to hear every single wrestler we're gonna talk about.
Thanks, Omen.
Because there's a lot of wrestlers we're gonna be covering. All I'm saying is, don't miss that show.
Well, he kind of gave a clue. He kind of gave a clue. But see, Brian is putting a smile because he's the only one that got the inside trade on what this topic is about. But as I said, this is going to be a historic topic that no one has ever talked about before. And trust me, there's only one way to find out what this topic is.
Tune in next Friday.
It's going to be historic. From myself, Lewis, my co-host Jaden, and my producer and director as always, my lovely wife Yesenia. Brian, I know you're looking forward to it. And Kevin, we appreciate it. Don't miss that anniversary show because trust me, it's gonna be one to go in the history books.
Amazing.
It's gonna be amazing. So, any questions, concerns, or topics, email us at evolutionofprowrestling@gmail.com. From all of us here at Evolution of Pro Wrestling, have a good night, fans. We'll see you next week.